Good morning everyone and welcome to ALA's Friday Community Scheme Training. This morning we'll be looking at Prescribed Management Rule 25, Contributions and Charges. Sub-Rule 1. The body corporate must as soon as possible, but not later than 14 days after the approval of the budgets referred to in Rule 17, by a general meeting, give each member written notice of the contributions and charges due and payable by that member to the body corporate. So basically what's happened is there's been an annual general meeting of the complex. This has got to take place within 4 months after the financial year end of the complex. And within 14 days of the end of the AGM, the trustees have to send out to the owners written notice of what they have to pay for the upcoming financial year. So the notice must state, paragraph A, that the member has an obligation to pay the specified contributions and charges. B, specify the due date for each payment. C, if applicable, state that interest at a rate specified in the notice will be payable on any overdue contributions and charges. And D, include details of the dispute resolution process that applies in respect of disputed contributions and charges. Alright, so we see from Management Rule 25 that it's obligatory because it starts off with the body corporate must. So they have to do this within 14 days after the AGM is held. They have to give each member notice of the contributions. And if they don't, it could be argued by a member that perhaps the contributions don't become due because the notice has not been sent out. We also have to consider, which we'll try and do at the end of the rule, is where the notice is sent to and how it is sent. Must it be sent by regular or registered post to the owner's service address in terms of Prescribed Management Rule 4, or is it sufficient if it's sent to the owner's email address, which Prescribed Management Rule 4 also makes provision for? In practice, predominantly it would be sent to the owner's email address. Alright. Sub-Rule 2. If money owing is not paid on the date specified in the notice referred to in Sub-Rule 1, the body corporate must send a final notice to the member, which notice must state. So this rule only kicks in if an owner does not pay monies that he owes by a certain date. Again, it's peremptory. The body corporate has to send this final notice if money is not paid on the due dates. The notice must state A, that the member has an obligation to pay the overdue contributions and charges and any applicable interest immediately, and B, if applicable, the interest that is payable in respect to the overdue contributions and charges at the date of the final notice, and the amount of interest that will accrue daily until the payment of the overdue contributions and charges. And C, that the body corporate intends to take action to recover the amount due if the overdue contributions and charges and interest owing are not paid within 14 days after the date the final notice is given. So if an owner does not pay on time, the body corporate has to send out this final notice to the owner, giving the owner all this information about the interest and what's outstanding, and that if he doesn't pay, legal action will be taken within 14 days after the date the final notice is given. Alright, so both Sub-Rule 1 and Sub-Rule 2 are really measures to protect owners in complexes, that they are aware of what they have to pay, and if they don't pay, at least they get a final notice from the body corporate warning them of the consequences of non-payment. Sub-Rule 3. Subject to Rule 21(3)(a) and B, and after the expiry of a financial year, and until they become liable for contributions in respect to the next financial year, Members are liable for contributions in the same amounts and payable in the same installments as were due and payable by them during the past financial year. So what's practically going to happen is the body corporate's financial year may end at the end of February, let's say this year, for example, 2018. And the annual general meeting of the complex, where they're going to approve the next budget and resolve the next set of levies, may only take place within 4 months, or even after the 4 months if the body corporate's late. So what sub-rule 3 is saying is that after expiry of the financial year and until they become liable for contributions in respect to the next financial year, members still have to pay the same installments that they paid during the previous financial year. Otherwise, owners might tell the body corporate, hang on a second, we have not had our AGM, we have not approved our budget, we have not resolved new levies, I refuse to pay. The trustees can then point the owner to this management rule and say, no, 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 in terms of this rule, you are liable for contributions in the same amounts and in the same installments as were due and payable during the last financial year. That's a good one to bear in mind. Sub-rule 4, a member is liable for and must pay to the body corporate all reasonable legal costs and disbursements as taxed or agreed by the member, incurred by the body corporate in the collection of arrear contributions or any other arrear amounts due and owing by such member to the body corporate, or in enforcing compliance with these rules, the conduct rules, or the Act. So an important change in the legislation came about with this rule, and a member is only responsible for the legal costs if the legal costs have been taxed by the taxing master at court, or the member has agreed to pay the legal costs. In that case, he is liable for them. And it can be legal costs for arrear levy collection or legal costs for enforcing the owner's compliance with the rules. Sub-rule 5, the body corporate must not debit a member's account with any amount that is not a contribution or a charge levied in terms of the Act or these rules, without the member's consent or the authority of a judgment or order by a judge, adjudicator, or arbitrator. So the owner's levy statement can only be debited with an amount that's a contribution, which is a levy, or a charge in terms of the Act or the rules. So other examples would be interest, that's a charge in terms of the rules, and penalties. If your rules provide for penalties, then that can also be debited to the owner's levy statement. Sub-rule 6, the body corporate must, in its annual financial statements, account for all contributions and any other charges debited to members' accounts. Sub-rule 7, on request in writing by a member, the body corporate must make available a full and detailed account of all amounts debited and credited to the member's account with the body corporate. So the owner can at any stage request his levy statement with a full and detailed account of all amounts debited and credited. Alright, so Management Rule 25 is really about a lot of owners' entitlements in order that he can be aware of what he has to pay, be aware of impending legal action, be aware of what can and can't be debited to his account, and also entitle him to a full and detailed statement of all amounts debited and credited to his account. So it's a nice rule to look at if you're a member and you want to see what your entitlements are. If you have any questions or queries, please feel free to contact me on inquiries@alattorneys.co.za or dial us on 011 326 8050. Please subscribe to our channel. Don't miss out on any videos uploaded by clicking on the bell icon. Have a super weekend.